Hello, boys and girls. Today I'd like to read two stories to you about how the library made a difference in two people's lives. The first book is entitled Thomas and the Library Lady, written by Pat Mora, illustrations by Raul Colon. It was midnight. The light of the full moon followed the tired old car. Thomas was tired too, hot and tired. He missed his own bed in his own house in Texas. Thomas was on his way to Iowa again with his family. His mother and father were farm workers. They picked fruit and vegetables for Texas farmers in the winter and for Iowa farmers in the summer. Year after year, they bumped along in their rusty old car. "Mama," whispered Thomas, "if I had a glass of cold water, I would drink it in big gulps. I would suck the ice. I would pour the last drops of water on my face." Thomas was glad when the car finally stopped. He helped his grandfather, Papa Grande, climb down. Thomas said, "Buenos noches," good night, to Papa, Mama, Papa Grande, and his little brother, Enrique. He curled up on the cot in the small house that his family shared with other workers. Early the next morning, Mama and Papa went out to pick corn in the green fields. All day they worked in the hot sun. Thomas and Enrique carried water to them. Then the boys played with a ball Mama had sewn from an old teddy bear. When they got hot, they sat under a tree with Grandpa Grande. "Tell us the story about the man in the forest," said Thomas. Thomas liked to listen to Papa Grande tell stories in Spanish. Papa Grande was the best storyteller in the family. "En un tiempo pasado," Papa Grande began, "once upon a time, on a windy night, a man was riding a horse through a forest. The wind was blowing, whoo, and the leaves were blowing, whoosh, whoosh. All of a sudden, something grabbed the man. He couldn't move. He was too scared to look around. All night long he wanted to ride away, but he couldn't. How the wind howled, how the leaves blew, how his teeth chattered. Finally, the sun came up. Slowly, the man turned around. And who do you think was holding him?" Thomas smiled and said, "A thorny tree." Papa Grande laughed. "Thomas, you know all my stories," he said. "There are many more in the library. You are big enough to go by yourself. Then you can teach us new stories." The next morning, Thomas walked downtown. He looked at the big library. Its tall windows were like eyes glaring at him. Thomas walked around and around the big building. He saw children coming out carrying books. Slowly, he started climbing up the stairs. He counted them to himself in Spanish. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro. His mouth felt full of cotton. Thomas stood in front of the library doors. He pressed his nose against the glass and peeked in. The library was huge. A hand tapped his shoulder. Thomas jumped. A tall lady looked down at him. "It's a hot day," she said. "Come inside and have a drink of water. What's your name?" she asked. "Thomas," he said. "Come, Thomas," she said. Inside, it was cool. Thomas had never seen so many books. The lady watched him. "Come," she said again, leading him to a drinking fountain. "First some water. Then I will bring books to this table for you. What would you like to read about?" "Tigers, dinosaurs," said Thomas. Thomas drank the cold water. He looked at the tall ceiling. He looked at all the books around the room. He watched the lady take some books from the shelf and bring them to the table. "This chair is for you, Thomas," she said. Thomas sat down. Then very carefully he took a book from the pile and opened it. Thomas saw dinosaurs bending their long necks to lap shiny water. He heard the cries of a wild snake bird. He felt the warm neck of the dinosaur as he held on tight for a ride. Thomas forgot about the library lady. He forgot about Iowa and Texas. "Thomas, Thomas," said the library lady softly. Thomas looked around. The library was empty. The sun was setting. The library lady looked at Thomas for a long time. She said, "Thomas, would you like to borrow 2 library books? I will check them out in my name." Thomas walked out of the library carrying his books. He ran home, eager to show the new stories to his family. Papa Grande looked at the library books. "Read to me," he said to Thomas. First, Thomas showed him the pictures. He pointed to the tiger. "Que tigris tan grande," Thomas said, first in Spanish, and then in English. "What a big tiger."
"Read to me in English,"
said Papa Grande. Thomas read about tiger eyes shining brightly in the jungle at night. He roared like a huge tiger. Papa, Mama, Enrique laughed. They came and sat near him to hear his story. Some days Thomas went with his parents to the town dump. They looked for pieces of iron to sell. Enrique looked for toys. Thomas looked for books. He would put the books in the sun to bake away the smell. All summer, whenever he could, Thomas went to the library. The library lady would say, "First a drink of water, and then some new books, Thomas." On quiet days, the library lady said, "Come to my desk and read to me, Thomas." Then she would say, "Please teach me some new words in Spanish." Thomas would smile. He liked being the teacher. The library lady pointed to a book. "Book is libro," said Thomas. "Libro," said the library lady. "Pájaro," said Thomas, flapping his arms. The library lady laughed. "Bird," she said. On days when the library was busy, Thomas read to himself. He'd look at the pictures for a long time. He smelled the smoke at the Indian camp. He rode a black horse across a hot, dusty desert. And in the evenings, he would read the stories to Mama, Papa, Papa Grande, and Enrique. One August afternoon, Tomas brought Papa Grande to the library. The library lady said, "Buenos tardes, señor." Tomas smiled. He had taught the library lady how to say "Good afternoon, sir" in Spanish.
Buenos tardes, señora.
Papa Grande replied. Softly, Tomas said, "I have a sad word to teach you today. The word is adios. It means goodbye." Tomas was going back to Texas. He would miss the quiet place, the cool water, the many books. He would miss the library lady. "My mother sent this to thank you," said Tomas, handing her a small package. "It is pan dulce, sweet bread. My mother makes the best pan dulce in Texas." The library lady said, "How nice, how very nice. Gracias, Tomas. Thank you." She gave Tomas a big hug. That night, bumping along again in the tired old car, Tomas held a shiny new book, a present from the library lady. Papa Grande smiled and said,
More stories for the new storyteller.
Tomas closed his eyes. He saw the dinosaurs drinking cool water long ago. He heard the cry of the wild snake bird. He felt the warm neck of the dinosaur as he held tight for a bumpy ride. A note about the story. Tomas Rivera was born in Crystal City, Texas in 1935. A migrant worker who valued education, Tomas Rivera became a writer, a professor, a university administrator, and a national education leader. When Dr. Rivera died in 1984, he was the chancellor of the University of California at Riverside. The campus library now bears the name of the boy who was encouraged to read by a librarian in Iowa. The end. Dreamers by Juji Morales. I dreamed of you, then you appeared. Together we became amour, love, amour, resplendent life, you and I. One day we bundled gifts in our backpack and crossed a bridge outstretched like the universe. Adios, corazón. And when we made it to the other side, thirsty and in awe, unable to go back, we became immigrants. Immigrants, you and I. The sky and the land welcomed us in words unlike those of our ancestors. There were so many things we didn't know, unable to understand and afraid to speak. We made lots of mistakes. you and I became caminados. Thousands and thousands of steps we took around this land until the day we found a place we had never seen before. Suspicious, improbable. Unbelievable, surprising, unimaginable. Where we didn't need to speak, we only needed to trust. And we did. Books became our language. Books became our home. Books became our lives. We learned to read, to speak, to write, and to make our voices heard. Someday, we will become something we haven't even yet imagined. But right now, we are stories. We are two languages. We are lucha. We are resilience. We are hope. We are dreamers. Sorenadas of the world. We are love, amor, love. The end. This story of Yuji Morales tells her journey of being an immigrant and how she learned to assimilate to America through books at the library. Hope you enjoyed that today. Thank you for listening.